It starts in a place most Filipinos recognize by sound before sight. Steel cutting, hulls rising, and cranes thundering along the shoreline. For years, that rhythm produced ferries, bulk carriers, and container ships bound for foreign ports. But in my view, what's happening now marks a decisive shift in national strategy. The same workers, the same bays, the same slipways are preparing to launch something different. Philippine-built warships. This isn't about unveiling a single flagship or holding a ceremonial keel-laying. It's about turning one of the world's busiest commercial shipbuilding hubs into a functional defense industrial base, steadily, deliberately, and using facilities already humming across Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. The Philippines is a global force in commercial shipbuilding by capacity and tonnage, and redirecting part of that strength toward national defense isn't just logical, it's overdue. You'll hear dramatic claims about monster warships. The reality is more grounded and more important. The country is preparing to design, assemble, and sustain its own fleet, combining selective foreign purchases with domestic production that builds skills, jobs, and strategic breathing room. The goal isn't spectacle. The goal is self-reliance. Today, we'll break down how this shift is unfolding, yard by yard, program by program, so you can see the transformation for yourself. For decades, the Philippines excelled at commercial shipbuilding, turning out bulk carriers, container ships, and tankers for global clients, while its Navy imported most of its gray hulls from abroad. The result? A strong maritime industry, but a fragile defense supply chain. That gap is exactly what the country is now moving to close. The industrial base exists, 124 shipyards in 2022, up from 116 in 2021, spanning Class A, B, and C facilities. That's not a promise, it's capacity on the ground, with yards that already cut, weld, outfit, paint, and launch vessels at scale. What changes now is the purpose. Allocate some of that throughput to naval construction and sustainment, and pair local yards with foreign partners for design transfer, systems integration, and weapons fit. The policy anchor is the Self-Reliant Defense Posture, SRDP, program. It's straightforward. Buy where you must, build where you can, and every year move more items from the first column into the second. That is why the narrative isn't stop importing. It's import the right ships while standing up local production lines. So the Navy gets capability now, and the country gets sovereignty in its supply chain later. This is also why the first wave of domestic focus is on platforms that fit the nation's geography and mission set. Fast, heavily armed coastal combatants and offshore patrol vessels that protect sea lanes, fisheries, and communities across an archipelago. Build what you'll use most, and build it where you'll repair it. The headline is, Build Warships at Home. The quiet detail that makes it possible is infrastructure transfer and yard preparation. And that is exactly what happened when Israel Shipyards Limited refurbished facilities at Naval Station Pascual Ledesma in Cavite City. This upgraded yard is now a production hub for the Navy's Fast Attack Interdiction Craft Missile, FAICM, agile boats with high speed and serious bite. The handoff wasn't symbolic. It turned a naval station into a repeatable assembly line. Those FAICM platforms fit the doctrine: coastal patrol, rapid interdiction, and deterrent firepower in crowded littorals. The Navy has already inducted 2 Shaldag Mark V FAICM craft, christened September 6, 2022, under the modernization program's Horizon 2 phase. The point isn't just 2 hulls, it's the template: build some at home, sustain them at home, and learn by doing while partners still deliver. Procurement paths matter as much as steel. The Department of National Defense is actively weighing government-to-government, G2G, deals versus competitive bidding for locally produced vessels. Each path has trade-offs: speed and bundled tech transfer in G2G, price tension and broader vendor options in open tenders. Either way, the direction is the same: local fabrication and assembly with foreign design mentorship where needed. And parallel to the domestic push, the Navy continues to bring in advanced OPVs from abroad. So the fleet grows now, even as local yards tool up for next. That buy now, build next dual track is how you avoid a decade of waiting. At Cavite's Naval Station Pascual Ledesma, the refurbished facility isn't a museum piece. It's a working line. Fabrication bays stage sections for FAICM modules. Fit-out teams route cabling, mount sensors, and integrate coastal strike packages. Quality control signs off before sea trials. Each hull teaches the next, and the yard accumulates know-how, scheduling, supplier management, systems handshakes between foreign electronics and Philippine standards. That learning curve is the real asset. The FAICM boats, derived from the Shaldag Mk5 lineage, are purpose-built for archipelagic defense. Quick acceleration, tight turning circles, and space for missiles or precision guns fitted to doctrine. With 2 units already delivered, the Navy has proof of concept. With the Cavite line, it has repeatability, which is what turns a delivery into a program. While fast attack craft dominate the littorals, the offshore mission needs endurance. That's where the contract with Hyundai Heavy Industries for 6 HDP 2,200 offshore patrol vessels comes in. Deliveries beginning 2026, project completion by 2028, and roughly 30 billion pesos, approximately $512.8 million invested. These OPVs extend presence, backstop search and rescue, and pair with FAICM on the nearshore screen. The OPVs are foreign-built, yes, but they buy time while local yards scale up. In Balamban, Cebu, Offshore Philippines recently completed a $20 million expansion. Bigger assembly halls, outfitting areas, paint facilities, and waterfront staging that boosts capacity for large, complex hulls, including future OPVs. Side effect? Jobs, supply chain depth, and a visible benchmark. Austal's launch of the 115-meter high-speed catamaran Express 5 in 2022, the largest ferry built by any Austal yard worldwide, proved the yard's ability to deliver big, fast, and precise. Meanwhile, ISIMP Shipyard and Port Services in Albuera, Leyte, has come online as the region's first BOI registered shipyard, with 10 berths that can handle simultaneous new builds and repairs. An initial 500 million pesos, approximately $8.5 million, investment, and a workforce plan for approximately 300 jobs with approximately 60% local hires. It's not a gray hull line yet, but it's industrial mass that can serve both commercial and defense needs as the national plan matures. Once hulls are commissioned, the same yards and their partners become through life support hubs, refits, system upgrades, spare parts, and crew training. That sustainment loop is how you keep ships ready without waiting on overseas dry dock slots. It also turns every peso spent into a domestic multiplier, from welders and electricians to software technicians and marine engineers. Here's the simple reading. The Philippines is doing the right thing in the right order. Build small, fast, and urgent platforms at home with a partner refurbished yard. Keep buying a handful of complexes, high-endurance hulls from trusted allies to protect the near-term mission. Expand domestic yards in parallel and ramp up local content each year. That's how you avoid the trap of all import or the fantasy of all domestic tomorrow. Why this works? 1. It leans on existing strength. With 124 shipyards, from Class A to C, the industrial fabric already exists. You're not inventing capacity, you're repurposing and upgrading it. 2. It targets the missions that matter most. FAICM for quick coastal interdiction and deterrence. OPVs for persistent offshore presence. Build what your waters demand. 3. It brings production home without waiting a decade. The Cavite refurbishment is a bridge from doctrine to dock, where design, assembly, and sustainment begin to live in the same place. 4. It spreads the economic benefit. Cebu's expanded complex and Leyte's BOI registered yard grow jobs and supplier ecosystems far beyond a single naval base. National defense becomes a national industry. The risks are practical, not philosophical. Systems integration, marrying foreign sensors, missiles, comms, and combat management systems with local production rhythms. The mitigation is co-production teams and a clear configuration baseline for each batch. Supply chain discipline, ensuring engines, gearboxes, radars, and weapon modules arrive on time. The mitigation is framework agreements with multiple qualified suppliers and buffer stock for long lead items. Aligned with your dock's emphasis on pre-positioned capability and yard capacity. Workforce upskilling, moving welders and fitters into mixed teams with electronics techs and software integrators. The mitigation is structured training embedded into each hull's production schedule, plus partnerships with maritime schools. Supported by the yard expansion and hiring plans described in your file. My stance is clear: keep the dual track. Buy the OPVs you need on schedule. Push FAICM and follow on small combatants into steady domestic cadence. Use Cavite as the keystone, Cebu as the heavy lift accelerator, and Leyte as the repair and regional build-out. Measure everything: time to launch, defects per hull, downtime per quarter, and publish the wins so public confidence grows with the fleet. If you're tracking this story as a citizen, a mariner, or a policy student, here's the checklist to watch over the next 24 to 36 months. 1. Yard throughput and rhythm. Cavite's FAICM line. Are cycle times per hull shrinking as teams climb the learning curve? Are integration snags fixed by the next boat, not the next year? Cebu's expanded capacity. Does it start absorbing larger defense work packages, OPV modules, superstructures, or full conversions, now that assembly and outfitting spaces are scaled up? 2. Fleet balance and availability. OPV delivery milestones. Are the 6 HDP 2,200 ships arriving on time, 2026 to 2028, and entering service with high availability? That reliability buys the Navy freedom to experiment with new domestic classes. FAICM operational deployment. Are the first boats producing hours on station and response times that shift the risk calculus in crowded littorals? 3. Economic spillover. Job creation and training pipelines. Approximately 300 roles at Leyte's ISIMP yard with approximately 60% local hires is the starting gun, not the finish line. Look for similar programs tied to naval work in other regions. Supplier networks. Are domestic firms stepping into cables, connectors, shock-mounted racks, composites, and software services that used to be imported? Your file shows the groundwork via yard expansions and diversified capabilities. 4. Sustainment culture. Planned maintenance intervals met? Refit cycles predictable? Spare parts stocked in country? Cavite, Cebu, and Leyte must become not just build sites but always-on support sites, so ships spend time at sea, not in queue. 5. Policy continuity. The G2G versus bidding decision will shape timelines. What matters most is clarity. Lock configurations early, minimize mid-program change orders, and keep a rolling production plan so suppliers invest with confidence. This is how a maritime nation turns commercial strength into sovereign capability. It won't make headlines every week. It will, however, deliver hulls you can count, jobs you can track, and response times you can measure. And it will do it with a mix of smart imports and smarter domestic builds that make the fleet stronger every year. If you drive past a shipyard in Cavite, Cebu, or Leyte, you might see the same cranes and the same silhouettes you've seen for years. Look closer. The welds are different, the compartments denser, the cabling looms tighter, warship signatures. The Philippines isn't just taking delivery anymore, it's taking ownership of the process. Design assistance in, hulls out, and sustainment in the same places where families build their futures. I'll keep following the milestones. The next FAICM rollout from Cavite, the OPV trials as deliveries begin, and the yard metrics that tell you whether this is momentum or just motion. If you work in these facilities or sail on these ships, your on-the-ground perspective matters. What's working? What needs fixing? Drop your insights in the comments so we can keep this conversation honest and useful to the people doing the real work. Thanks for watching. If this breakdown helped you see how Build at Home becomes Ready at Sea, hit like and subscribe. We'll be here when the next hull slides down the ways.